Good evening, America. Angie Ress here, welcoming you to N3 Primetime. Tonight, Gary Franchi brings us 5 bombshell stories. Former President Trump charged in Georgia. Is this a threat to democracy or long overdue justice? Next, as the U.S. dollar teeters, is a gold-backed world reserve currency our future? CNN's Jake Tapper takes an unexpected turn regarding Hunter Biden. What's shifted? Overhead in Delaware, a clear message for the Bidens. We'll dive deep. And Maui's devastation raises eyebrows as President Biden's response sparks debate. Don't miss our comments section where we spotlight your voices. And on Looking at You, we reveal a name making waves that you won't want to miss. All of this and so much more. Let's get started. Over to you, Gary.
Good evening to our N3 Primetime viewers. I'm Gary Franchi. Tonight, we bring you stories that are more than just headlines. They're pivotal markers in our national conversation, indicators of where we stand, where we're headed, and crucially, what we're willing to tolerate. From the serious charges against former President Donald Trump to the alarming vulnerabilities of the U.S. dollar and the transparent skies above Biden's retreat, these aren't merely political tales. They signify the tug of war between tradition and progress, accountability and obfuscation. And consider this, since the 1970s, our U.S. dollar has seen a staggering loss of its value, 85%. Think about that. It's as if we handed over our hard-earned savings only to watch it whittle away bit by bit. With the ever-looming specter of upcoming elections, remember, the government has the power to print money without limits. And where does this lead us? Towards the dangerous cliffs of inflation. But as history shows, there is an anchor, and that is held fast, gold. And it's not just a metal, it's a testament to resilience in our turbulent times. And our friends, our sponsor of this program, Noble Gold Investments, they understand this. And for those who are ready to secure your future against the tides of uncertainty, they're offering a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com or give them a call at 877-646-5347. Even if you're not investing, give them a call and tell them thank you for sponsoring this program. It's time to safeguard what you've earned. Now let's shift gears. Angie, what stories are on your radar for tonight's episode?
As I dive deeper into the issues shaking the very foundation of our nation, I ask this question. What does it mean to be an American in these challenging times? From New York's escalating migrant dilemma to radical city agendas threatening to redefine our daily choices, like what we eat and how we move, the stories I'm bringing you tonight aren't just reports. They're a call to attention. The northern border is under strain. Chicago's violence takes an alarming turn, and the quintessential American dream of owning a home, it's facing its gravest challenge yet. Now more than ever, it's crucial we stay informed, connected, and proactive. In what's shaping up to be a significant legal battle, former President Trump faces intensifying pressures in Georgia's RICO case, especially with the judge's recent actions on bond stipulations. For an in-depth look in this special report, we turn to Gary.
Former President Donald Trump is now caught in the legal crosshairs down in Georgia. A judge, in a move that raises eyebrows, has slapped a staggering $200,000 bond on Trump, tying him to allegations of election interference in 2020. The indictment paints a Hollywood-like thriller, claiming Trump was at the center of a vast racketeering plot to overturn his defeat to Joe Biden. But here's where it gets surreal. The bond isn't just about money. It's almost like a gag order. They're saying Trump can't talk to witnesses or even utter a word about this on social media. And given such constraints before an actual trial, one has to wonder if Georgia's judicial system is looking to make a spectacle more than seeking justice. The games in the courtroom seem to be starting early. And stick around to hear the unbelievable intricacies in my final thought and understand the troubling direction this aggressive prosecution could take us. Trust me, you don't want to miss this special report. According to court documents, Trump has been charged with multiple felonies related to Georgia's 2020 presidential election, including racketeering, conspiracy, and false statements. A judge has set a $200,000 bond, allowing payment via cash bond company or the jail's 10% bail program. Trump is expected to surrender at the Fulton County Jail this week to face those charges. And according to the constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, the Georgia indictment is dangerous and essentially criminalizes challenges to elections. Watch.
It's excessive, and I think it's also dangerous. It essentially criminalizes challenges to elections. There's no sort of limiting principle in this document. They are charging things like the president saying publicly we need to have a recount.
Absolutely absurd. Typically, arrestees in Fulton County are jailed until a hearing within 72 hours. However, Trump and other defendants may avoid this, having arranged bond details prior to surrender. This is a sigh of relief, especially as, in case you didn't know, the Fulton County Jail is currently under federal investigation for its absolutely abhorrent living conditions. One inmate in particular prompted the investigation, as last year he was found dead in a cell, covered in bugs and bug bites. Watch.
Turmoil at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office less than 24 hours after the jail announced the death of yet another inmate. The U.S. Department of Justice has launched a civil rights investigation. Good evening. I'm Russ Spencer.
I'm Christine Spiro in for Courtney Bryant. Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo is live at the Fulton County Jail tonight. Rob, you've been on top of this story all day. What have you found out?
That's right, guys. I'm hearing from the Department of Justice that their investigation will be from top to bottom at the Fulton County Jail. They say that they'll be looking at medical treatment along with use of force incidents and several inmates' deaths, especially one that just happened this week. Now, one of the most egregious, a man named LaShawn Thompson, whose body was found covered in lice and filth in the jail's crumbling mental health unit. They also cited near daily stabbings and the suspected murders of the inmates, which may have been concealed. A handful of guards have been arrested for excessive force and misconduct. This is on top of the death that the sheriff's office reported yesterday of 19-year-old Nani Batiste Kosoko, who was in their custody at the Atlanta City Jail on misdemeanor charges. Take a listen.
This investigation will be comprehensive. We will examine living conditions in the Fulton County Jail, access to medical care and mental health care, use of excessive force by staff, and conditions that may give rise to violence between people incarcerated at the facility.
Now, the DOJ says their investigation will also look at whether the jail discriminates against people who are incarcerated and experiencing psychiatric disabilities. They're asking.
Wow, looks like Fulton County has some issues of their own. And one Twitter user pointed this out, tweeting the Biden DOJ is currently investigating the Fulton County Jail for safety violations. Despite this, the Democrats are going to force Donald Trump to be arrested at this dangerous facility. The deranged globalists are intentionally putting a president's life in danger. And just like my transformative journey, Trump faces a monumental challenge. You see, I lost over 80 pounds thanks to the Fat Loss for Life, a body transformation guide. And this guide, crafted by personal trainer and nutrition coach Gary Mascione, offers deep insights into nutrition, introduces a revolutionary fitness app, and presents workouts meticulously crafted for every fitness level. It was my driving force, and you can start your journey too at Gary'sTraining.com. Use code NNN for a 10% discount. Now, the bond slapped on Trump reads like a laundry list of don'ts. Not only must he steer clear of any hint of lawbreaking, he's mandated to show up in court whenever he's called. And here's the kicker. Trump can't so much as look cross-eyed at co-defendants or witnesses, forget tweeting about it or having an off-the-record chat unless it's with his attorneys. At the helm of this brewing legal storm, Judge Scott McAfee, freshly appointed to the Fulton County Superior Court. He comes with a resume that includes stints as a prosecutor, an assistant U.S. attorney, and even a state inspector general. The heart of the indictment, a supposed grand conspiracy by Trump and cohorts to tilt the Georgia election scales. A defense, a confident proclamation of innocence. But as the legal chess game unfolds, the real question we ought to be asking is where to draw the line between defending electoral integrity and preserving the rights of those on the dock. Is every questionable election move now a one-way ticket to a courtroom? Or are there times when a civil penalty is enough? This case promises to redefine conversations and everything from voter rights to fortifying our systems against meddling. And as the gavel falls and the court battles begin, every move will be under the microscope. Prosecutors have to watch their step to avoid cries of overreach. Trump's team will be fighting tooth and nail for fair play. And us, the public, we're caught in the crossfire, juggling our commitment to the Constitution and the sacredness of the vote. The stakes are high for both our republic and our justice system. Stay alert. The reverberations from this case promise to be monumental. So this draconian $200,000 bond with a strict speech and conduct restrictions show the prosecution is determined to put the screws to President Trump. But we must ask ourselves, is this the kind of heavy-handed government overreach we want to see in America? The charges themselves already set a dangerous precedent by essentially criminalizing standard election challenges. Now this punitive bond seeks to control Trump's behavior even before he gets his day in court. What happened to due process and the presumption of innocence? The political motivations here are as plain as day. State prosecutors want to make an example of Trump for daring to question their election procedures. And such a precedent threatens every citizen's ability to freely speak out against government corruption and abuse of power. The case reveals the dark side of the justice system when weaponized for political gain. The future of free speech and fair elections hangs in the balance. As the story develops, we must remain vigilant in defending our liberties from those who would trample upon them. Tyranny often begins slowly before tightening its grip. Don't say you weren't warned. New Yorkers are making their voices heard regarding a controversial migrant housing plan. For the latest on the situation, let's send it over to Angie.
New York City faces a surge of migrants from the southern border, and it appears the city's leadership is looking the other way. In an unprecedented move, some senior living centers are being repurposed as migrant housing, sparking strong backlash. Local residents have taken to the streets in protest, only to encounter firm police responses. With migrant facilities bursting at the seams and no solid action from the liberal decision-makers, the safety of New York City citizens hangs in the balance. Citizens call for decisive measures, urging leaders to prioritize community safety over politics. It's time for New Yorkers to rally and demand protection from this escalating situation. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Unprecedented actions on the world stage as nations unite in a bold move against the United States. For a comprehensive special report on the implications and reactions, Gary's got the full story.
And now a special report you can't afford to miss. Our global financial world is undergoing a seismic shift, and at its epicenter, the U.S. dollar's dominance. For nearly 80 years, nations have relied upon the dollar, but now changes are brewing that challenge America's economic grip on the world. Tonight, we'll dive deep into why the U.S. is at a crucial crossroads. Embrace gold or face unparalleled isolation. And make sure you stay with us to the end for a final thought that could change how you view America's place in the world economy. In a world that's rapidly shifting, we often look to experts to shed light on the complexities of global finance. Patrick Barron, a well-respected voice from the Mises Institute, has recently articulated a nuanced perspective on the state of the dollar's supremacy. And it's an analysis that every American should heed. For nearly 8 decades, the world's financial stability has been anchored by the U.S. dollar. Since the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, nations across the globe have shown unwavering trust in this currency, holding vast reserves to ensure smooth international trading. Even when the U.S. in 1971 reneged on its commitment to redeem dollars for gold at $35 an ounce, this trust persisted. But as Barron keenly observes, the tides of geopolitics are turning, and the dollar's long-held dominance may be waning. Let's go back to the 2010s, a period that Barron rightly highlights as pivotal. Germany was at a crossroads. The nation looked poised to ditch the euro in favor of reinstating the Deutschmark. Such a move had the potential to send ripples throughout the financial world, potentially leading to the eurozone's collapse and elevating Germany's currency to a position where it could challenge the dollar's global dominance. Yet global politics, especially concerns from neighboring France, kept Germany in line. France, with its nuclear arsenal and dependence on EU subsidies, had much at stake. And as Barron astutely points out, the reserve currency game was not just about economic might, but also about nuclear power and geopolitical influence. This left the United States as the sole major player for years. And Barron doesn't stop at Europe. He draws our attention eastward to the rise of China. Under the visionary leadership of Xi Jinping, China underwent sweeping reforms, evolving from a closed economy to a global powerhouse. With its burgeoning economy and nuclear capabilities, it emerged as a formidable challenger to America's economic throne. And as Russia, once hopeful of assimilating back to Europe, found itself rebuffed, it sought solace with its partnership with China. This new Asian nexus, as Barron calls it, represents more than just a shift in power. It's a strategic move against the dollar's most significant vulnerability, its status as a fiat currency. The U.S. penchant for inflating the dollar to fund its ambitious welfare and warfare programs, combined with its strategy of wielding sanctions like a weapon, hasn't escaped global notice. And consider Russia's predicament, highlighted by Barron. U.S. sanctions didn't inconvenience Russia, they froze billions in assets. Instead of capitulating, Russia responded with vigor, accelerating plans to introduce a new gold-backed world reserve currency joined by the BRICS nations, Brazil, India, China, and South Africa. And they've begun charting a course away from dollar dependency, leaning towards a more transparent gold-backed trading system. Their intent is clear, and they plan to make significant announcement very soon. So this brings us to an essential point. Barron analyzed his analysis reminds us of the dollar's historical linkage to gold. Since the 70s, our dollar has been steadily losing its value. Now it's lost a staggering 85% since decoupling from gold. The government's unrestrained printing of money only exacerbates the situation. And remember that inflation spike of 9%? In these turbulent times, one asset stands out as a bulwark against inflation. I'm talking about gold. And with Noble Gold Investments, not only can you safeguard your assets, but you can also receive a free 24-karat quarter-ounce gold standard coin. It's more than an investment. It's a statement, a return to stability. Dial 877-646-5347 or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. It is a name that I trust, especially in these times. And now back to Barron's insights, because he cautions us against complacency. While some may dismiss the ambitions of the BRICS group, citing the U.S. 8-decade-long supremacy, they miss the bigger picture. Barron draws attention to three flawed concepts currently captivating the United States. Firstly, the Keynesian economics model, which overemphasizes aggregate demand at the cost of production. Secondly, the modern monetary theory that asserts that states can never go bankrupt as they can always print more money. And thirdly, the post-World War II U.S. arrogance that believes in its right to ostracize nations at will. Barron's analysis concludes on a somber note, but also with a beacon of hope. As the BRICS nations rally around gold, America stands at a critical juncture. Will we adapt and evolve, or will we remain entrenched in outdated policies and risk isolation? Barron believes that a return to the gold standard, along with honest and respectful statesmanship, is America's only way forward. The leaders capable of steering this shift are out there, awaiting their call to action. And as they rise, both the U.S. and the world stand to benefit immensely. So as we wrap up with this final thought in this special report tonight, consider this. America's economic policies, long the bedrock of global trade, are now its potential downfall. The world's evolving, seeking stability, transparency, and fairness in its financial systems. The BRICS Plus movement embodies this shift, urging a return to the gold standard. So the question stands, will America heed the signs, or will it cling to outdated policies, risking isolation? This isn't just a story of finance or gold. It's about America's place in a rapidly changing world. Our decisions now will shape our nation's future, our children's future. It's time for America to rise, to adapt, and to lead once again. And with that, I'll leave you with a thought. In the world of economics, those who don't evolve get left behind. Good night, America, and may we always choose the path of progress. In a bold and ambitious move, several U.S. cities are targeting a ban on meat, dairy, and private cars by the end of the decade? Angie's got a brief rundown on what this could mean for you.
14 cities driven by a radical left-leaning agenda aim to dramatically alter American ways within 7 years. These cities are part of the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group, an initiative backed by billionaire Democrat Michael Bloomberg. Their far-reaching aspirations: banning meat and dairy, restricting private vehicle use, and setting limits on clothing purchases and travel, as detailed in their recent report titled The Future of Urban Consumption in a 1.5 Celsius World. Beyond environmental concerns, this seems to be a play to strip personal freedoms, including dietary choices that have existed since humanity's inception. Such aggressive changes could jeopardize our health and American values. We must stand firm against such overreaches, defending our liberties and way of life. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. In a surprising twist, CNN has made a concession regarding Trump, leaving many viewers taken aback. For a detailed special report on what transpired and the implications, let's go to Gary.
It's time for another special report. In an unexpected turn of events, even the liberal stalwarts at CNN are beginning to sing a different tune. Jake Tapper, a renowned CNN host, has come forward admitting something many of us have known for quite some time. Trump was right. But that's not all. As we dive deeper into tonight's narrative, we'll reveal how the tide is turning for the 2024 elections. Trump's chances of reclaiming the presidency seem more than just hopeful. They're becoming a reality. This is a report you don't want to miss, especially our final thoughts, so stay with us. The truth is about to be uncovered. In the ever-shifting sands of media narrative, CNN, often termed the Clinton News Network by its critics, recently took an unexpected stance. During a segment that left many viewers in disbelief, Jake Tapper on his show The Lead with Jake Tapper unambiguously declared Trump was right. This acknowledgement originated from the swirling controversy surrounding the Biden family. Central to this maelstrom is Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, who has admitted to accepting substantial sums from various international entities. This revelation wasn't just surprising, but it directly contradicted what Joe Biden had passionately defended during the 2020 debates against Donald Trump. Back then, Trump had asserted that Hunter reaped a fortune in places like Ukraine, China, and Moscow, and Biden had fervently countered these claims. But now, with mounting evidence suggesting otherwise, even CNN couldn't look the other way. Watch.
And Kristen, Glenn Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month, noting that Hunter Biden admitted in court in July that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about what are you talking about? China.
Once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong. I don't know that he was lying about it. He might not have been told by Hunter, but this blind spot is a problem.
It's a problem, one, because Republicans aren't going to let it go, that's for sure. But also, these problems are continuing through the legal system. It's not as though this is something that's been settled in other jurisdictions and Republicans are just harping on it. It is an ongoing thing in our courts. It's not going anywhere.
This is a blind spot. Does it concern you as a Democrat?
Well, I think dads have sometimes, and parents sometimes have blind spots about their kids, for sure, and the president may be no exception. But nothing has tied the president to any of Hunter Biden's dealings. There's no whiff of him being involved or him being implicated in.
Yeah, but he still lied. Okay? He still lied.
In it. And it's, you know, I think it's not something the voters care a lot about.
All right, my thanks to the panel.
I beg to differ. Yes, the voters care quite a bit about honesty in our politicians. Now, Tapper's candid confession also put a spotlight on Joe Biden's own credibility. Was Biden genuinely oblivious to his son's international dealings, or did he knowingly ignore them? These alternatives present a grim picture. Either the president is incredibly out of touch with the realities surrounding him, which, wouldn't be far from the truth, or there's a deeper narrative of deceit and corruption. I'd probably say a little bit of both, right? Yet, as the adage goes, when it rains, it pours. Another groundbreaking segment on CNN, steered by senior data reporter Henry Enton, threw light on the 2024 election dynamics. Trump's prospects for the 2024 elections, against all odds and despite facing a barrage of challenges, are looking increasingly promising. The numbers are clear indicators. Recent polls show Biden leading by only a wafer-thin margin. hinting at an intensely competitive race for the presidency in 2024. Watch.
Trump's lead is even larger. So these are 3 polls that were out over the last week. Look at these leads for Donald Trump. He's at 62% in the CBS News YouGov poll, 57% in Quinnipiac University, 53% in the Fox News poll. Look at where DeSantis is in all these polls. Look how far back he is. He doesn't crack 20% in any of them. So in Iowa, you have that 20-plus point lead for Donald Trump. That's actually smaller than the lead we see nationally, where we see these leads of 35, 40, near 50 points in this particular case. Of course, the primary is one thing. If Trump wins the primary, can he go on and win the general election? And we've had 3 polls that have come out over the last week here. And I want you to take a look at how close this race is at this particular point. Granted, the general election is over a year away. The largest lead for Joe Biden is just 3 points within the margin of error. No clear leader. Look at these. 1 point, 1 point. If you go back at where we were at this point 4 years ago, Joe Biden's lead was high single digits to low double digits. This is significantly closer than where we were 4 years ago. So this idea that Donald Trump can't win the general election, I want you to lose that idea. This race is very, very close, and Donald Trump is polling better right now than basically at any point during the entire 2020 cycle.
After 4 indictments.
After 4 indictments. It just doesn't really seem to matter.
That's fascinating.
Harry Elton.
Enton's segment wasn't just a presentation of numbers and statistics, it was a revelation of a paradigm shift in public sentiment. While Joe Biden continues to enjoy the spotlight and protection from potential controversies, Trump's grassroots support remains undeterred and robust. The unwavering Republican base stands firmly behind him, further fueled by their lingering skepticism over the election results of 2020. But what should genuinely concern the Democrats are the general election polling data. Trump, in the face of unprecedented challenges, stands toe-to-toe with Biden. This resilience is a testament to the effectiveness of his policies and the trust he's instilled in his core supporters. The vocal public sentiment was evident across social media platforms. One Twitter user pointed out the glaring discrepancies in the current administration. Tukey 2000 stated, Americans see what's happening now and are rejecting passivity. Another, Kurt Schemers, highlighted the ineffectiveness of the media's portrayal of Trump. He tweeted, they're shocked the political prosecution and the media's false narratives isn't working, and we're not. And Meme Not Libs humorously pointed out that if even CNN is acknowledging these facts, the real situation might be even more tilted in Trump's favor, tweeting, if CNN is saying this, then the real numbers must be astronomical. Reflecting on the past, it's not hard to ponder the potential divergent paths that might have been. What if the media narrative had been more balanced? What if the Russia collusion allegations hadn't bogged down Trump's tenure? The media's allegiance with the Democrat Party, which has been evident for decades, has muddied the waters of objective journalism. The narratives have always been skewed, but as these CNN segments indicate, change might be on the horizon. Americans are taking stock of the repercussions from the decision made in the 2020 elections. As the 2024 election nears, the nation could be gearing up for a serious course correct. As we conclude tonight's report, it's essential to understand why this matters. It's not just about politics or the race for the presidency. It's about truth, transparency, and the future of our great republic. Every American deserves leaders who are straightforward and uphold the nation's interests above all. These revelations from CNN, a network often criticized for its biased coverage, underscore the importance of holding our leaders accountable. We as a nation must be vigilant, informed, and proactive in our choices. Our republic thrives when truth prevails. As the 2024 elections approach, let's remember the lessons from the past and strive for a brighter, more transparent future. The fate of our nation lies in our hands, so let's make it count. The surprising shift in border dynamics as illegal crossings see a significant surge at the U.S.-Canada border. For a concise news brief on the latest developments, let's go to Angie.
Under the Biden administration, our nation's borders face mounting pressure. Recent data unveils a 36% surge in illegal immigrant encounters on the northern border in July, tallying over 1,100 encounters. Shockingly, this year's encounters have more than doubled compared to last year. As a result, the Swanton Border Patrol sector is stretched thin, moving resources from the already strained southern border. This escalating issue prompted Republican Governor Chris Sununu to advocate for his congressional team to intervene. Meanwhile, cities like Chicago and New York struggle with this surge, allocating millions for migrant support and utilizing places of worship for housing. Two national polls reflect Americans' growing discontent, with over 60% disapproving of the administration's border management. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. An unexpected moment caught on camera. President Biden faced with a shocking sight during his vacation. For a special report on what transpired, we'll turn it over to Gary.
The clouds above Joe Biden's Delaware beach house bore a historic message this weekend, a message echoing the sentiments of countless Americans. A plane with a banner demanding Hunter Biden's prosecution sliced through the summer sky. An audacious act or a reflection of the growing discontent? The Bidens might have been hoping for a quiet day at the beach, but the universe, it seems, had other plans. And if you thought that was the climax, brace yourself as we delve deeper into this story. The twists and turns intensify, so stick around to the end, because you don't want to miss the final thought on why this matters more than ever. The Delaware beach, renowned for its gentle waves and sunlit serenity, unexpectedly morphed into a hub of political drama. Those seeking a relaxing day at the beach were instead greeted by an unmissable message in the skies: prosecute Hunter. This airborne declaration, masterminded by the SOS America PAC, was an unequivocal nod to Miami Mayor Francis Suarez's aspirations for the 2024 GOP presidential campaign. Watch this.
Man, this is crazy. This is where Biden had his vacation. Welcome to Delaware.
You've got to love it, right? The Bidens no doubt found this skyward spectacle hard to ignore. Their beachfront getaway, it seems, offers no reprieve from the mounting political pressures. With each rotation of that banner, the weight of unresolved controversies seemed to anchor deeper. Suarez's campaign already making waves hints at a tumultuous 2024 political showdown. Yet as the skies narrated one tale, the ground beneath rumbled with another. House GOP members, amplifying their assertiveness, dispatched subpoenas to key IRS and FBI figures. This decisive move was spurred by allegations of political meddling in the Hunter Biden criminal case. Rumblings from IRS insiders cast shadows of potential bias in the Hunter Biden probe led by Special Counsel Weiss. With each passing day, the narrative deepens, challenging long-held beliefs in transparency and justice. In the midst of this political whirlwind, let's briefly shift gears, because it seems Joe Biden's beachside appearance could do with some muscular enhancement. To avoid mirroring an aging Joe, I've discovered a product designed to ward off muscle loss. Packed with powerhouses like MyHMB, creatine, betaine, and vitamin D3, it promises more than just muscle maintenance. It vows to boost your endurance and dynamicism. Secure this edge with Gain at gainwithgary.com, available now with a generous 41% discount. And now back to the unfolding drama, because the subpoenas, while routine on the surface, signify a fierce commitment to unveiling the truth. Key players include Michael T. Batroff of the IRS and Thomas Sabaninsky of the FBI are now under scrutiny. The objective? To unearth any underlying political influence or favoritism in the Hunter Biden investigation. The case, previously shrouded in ambiguity, is slowly unveiling its layers. The bravery of IRS whistleblowers, combined with murmurs of Hunter receiving preferential treatment, only adds to the intrigue. House Republicans, with their unwavering commitment to truth, are at the forefront of efforts to demystify these allegations. Adding another layer, the Daily Mail delves into Weiss's inconsistent narratives. His appointment, an authority as a special counsel in the Hunter Biden investigation, has been fodder for debates, yet Weiss's oscillating statements over time have only fanned the flames of doubt. The Hunter Biden case, intricate and winding, is barreling towards what promises to be an explosive climax. The relentless endeavors of GOP members ensure a riveting continuation of this saga. The rapid evolution of the Hunter Biden case finds GOP members dissecting every minute detail. Their intricate probes span the business ventures of the Biden family and the DOJ's approach to the Hunter Biden inquiry. Beyond the immediate ramifications, this tale delves deep, probing the very essence of America's republic and its cherished values. In the end, as the political tapestry unravels, core American tenets of transparency, accountability, and justice find themselves in the spotlight. The oncoming days and weeks stand as a testament, and the nation watches, hopeful that the ensuing chapters will reaffirm the hallowed ideals that America stands for. In a republic like ours, transparency, accountability, and the rule of law are foundational pillars. This story unfolding against the backdrop of political maneuvering, family ties, and potential misdeeds underscores the significance of holding those in power accountable. Every American deserves the truth. The banner that soared over the Delaware beach wasn't just a demand for justice. It was a reminder that the public's eye is always vigilant. As we witness these events unfold, let's remember that it's not just about one family or one case. It's about ensuring that the principles of our great nation was built upon remain inviolate. As we move forward, may the winds of justice and truth prevail, reminding us all that in America, no one is above the law. In a move that has many raising their eyebrows, a Chicago alderwoman has made a rather unusual request for criminals in the city. For the details on this unexpected plea, let's send it over to Angie for her news brief.
Chicago's Windy City reputation has been overshadowed by a grim statistic. It's led in homicides among major U.S. cities for 11 straight years. In an alarming move, Alderwoman Maria Hayden shared a proposal from the group Native Sons, asking gang members to limit their shootings between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. Such a suggestion, rather than curbing violence, appears to give a timetable to criminals. While Native Sons founder Tatiana Atkins claims this tactic addresses gun violence, one can't help but wonder, is this a real solution or just a dangerous, ineffective compromise? Amid these concerns, Chicagoans yearn for genuine, impactful strategies to combat the relentless violence that plagues their streets. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Controversy stirs in paradise as President Biden's arrival in Maui for a photo op sparks immediate backlash. For a special report detailing the events and reactions, here's Gary.
In a stunning display of frustration, Maui residents line the streets, their message loud and clear: he's too late. Just 2 weeks after the heart-wrenching wildfires that left over 100 dead and thousands more missing, President Joe Biden finally graced the island with his presence. But was his arrival met with gratitude? Far from it. The burning question in everyone's mind is this: why did our commander-in-chief choose leisure over leadership, vacationing not once, but twice before addressing one of the most devastating tragedies in recent memory? Tonight we dive deep into the situation that has left Maui's residents feeling abandoned and the media's curious silence on this dire issue. And stay tuned, because you don't want to miss our final thought on what this means for America. In the wake of one of the most heart-wrenching disasters to hit the American soil, the beautiful island of Maui, renowned for its paradisiacal landscapes, found itself swallowed by devastating wildfires. Historic Lahaina was reduced to a smoldering memory, with over 100 lives tragically lost and almost 1,000 still unaccounted for. One question echoed across the nation: where was our president? And for weeks, President Joe Biden, portrayed by many media outlets as the embodiment of empathy, appeared to be in a world of his own. Not one, but 2 vacations marked his calendar, from his Rehoboth Beach tranquility in Delaware to the serene vistas of Lake Tahoe, Nevada. He seemed ensconced in leisure, seemingly detached from the agony unfolding in Maui. Tweets from the post-millennial showcased Biden's arrival in Maui, capturing the gravity of the situation, but the island's reception was far from warm. Videos from RNC Research depicted Maui residents deeply scarred by the tragedy, standing in protest, and their signs spoke volumes. Watch.
Over to my right, there are a bunch of people out here. They've been here for hours. A bunch of them are protesting. They have their makeshift signs, cardboard signs, a lot of them saying, as we've been talking about, that he's too late. Some of them feel that he should have been here much earlier. Other signs that say actions speak louder than words. So hearing a lot from the people here, as well as Hawaiian flags.
However, this group decided to greet him with the one-finger victory salute with a chorus of two choice words. Watch.
Wow, he's finally here. Wow, yeah. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. You.
Wow. While on the ground, Biden decided to crack jokes about how hot the ground is. Watch this.
You guys catch the boots out here? That's a hot ground, man.
Hello, everybody. All right, Chris, we're going to jump ahead to the next spot, okay, guys?
Unbelievable. That's hot ground, man. As if the pain wasn't profound enough, the administration's aid package added insult to injury after allocating a staggering $100 billion to Ukraine. The proposed relief for Maui's grieving residents, a one-time payment of $700 per household, a number that seems to pale in comparison to the anguish they've endured. Biden, he was tired and confused. Even the Democrat senator from Hawaii suggested he have a sip of water. Instead of responding, he just shuffled away. Watch.
Ready? You want to grab that water for a second?
Wow. Biden's brief 6-hour visit sandwiched between his vacations speaks volumes about his priorities. A mere 6 hours for a place where countless lives have been forever altered. And what followed? A swift departure back to the comforting embrace of his vacation. The media's role in this narrative is equally perplexing. Republican leaders of yore, be it Presidents Donald Trump or George W. Bush, faced relentless scrutiny for their crisis response. Yet the coverage of Biden's seemingly lackadaisical approach to the Maui disaster appeared muted. Any critique was often framed as partisan mudslinging, conveniently overlooking the genuine grievances of Maui's residents. One of the tweets from RNC Research aptly highlighted the sentiment. You can see it. Biden heads to Maui almost 2 weeks after the wildfires devastated the island. He needed a vacation at the beach first. Then he needed another vacation. Then after his flyby, he will resume his vacation. In a revealing interview on CNN's State of the Union, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell seemed to dismiss the concerns. Her defense? She was in complete communication with Biden throughout. But does behind-the-scenes communication replace visible, empathetic leadership in times of unparalleled distress? Watch.
The president has faced some criticism from Republicans because he spent about 5 days not talking about this as many of the devastating images and numbers were coming. Do you think the Republican criticism of the president's willingness to talk about this in public or lack thereof is fair criticism?
You know, what I can tell you is the president directed me to go to Maui to assess the damage, meet with the governor, meet with the local officials, you know, giving me the opportunity in this space to make sure that I can understand what's going on, and then I report back to the president. I was in complete communication with him throughout this event.
Sure. Well, the disillusionment wasn't restricted to just this. A poignant video showcased a resident's lament on the paltry aid. Watch.
We've been getting a lot of help from the community, and the community has been a big part of my family's survival. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are right now in regards to sanity, as well as our survival mode.
You mentioned the community, but are you getting enough help from the government tonight?
My parents received a check for $700. Which was a slap in the face. This $700 was given by the government, And I feel like it's not enough. Living in Hawaii, you spend groceries, you know, everything is so expensive. Groceries can be as much as $700 just for one grocery run. And it's not enough. And right now, the Maui community is helping the Maui community. And it's really affected me because where's the president? He decides to come here this week, to come here next week. I mean, like, where aren't we Americans too? Like, we're part of the United States, but why are we getting put in the back pocket? Why are we being ignored? And I feel like these families need aid right away, and they're being turned away because their applications hasn't been approved or pending. And the only way they'll be able to get aid or help is if they sign up through FEMA, where a lot of these families have elderly who are computer literate, where they don't know how to do it or they don't know what to do.
What do you think
right
is
now,
important for the
only
president?
help we're getting is
Ella, what do you think it's important for the
getting,
president to see when he comes next week on Monday?
Tell him to come to War Memorial and see the people there laying out in cots and see how he feels, especially injured people that's laying out in cots right at War Memorial Stadium. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that it was going to go this way. I was happy to talk about my family, but everything that has been in my heart, I needed to say out loud because I've been struggling mentally when it comes to providing help. And I want to be able to be there for every single person that I meet. I want to be there for every single person that I see.
Ella, I mean, no one can even fathom what you and your family have been through, so you don't have to apologize. And thank you for coming on tonight. I know you have a lot of people in your household, and we know the president will be there next week, so thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, he was there. 6 hours, photo op, and then back to vacation. The Washington Post, in a puzzling move, recently dissected Biden's response. While detailing his engagement behind the scenes, they left out a significant detail: Biden's Lake Tahoe vacation. Such omissions raise questions about the media's role in shaping public perception. Amid the government's perceived inaction, heartwarming tales emerged from Maui. Local heroes like pro surfer Kai Lenny highlighted the community's resilience. Lenny's words were a testament to a community united in the face of adversity, often in the absence of official support. Watch.
For some of us, we were kind of sitting back waiting for help to arrive, and then nothing was sort of happening. We were just in shock.
But what was that tipping point for you when you realized government is not going to be able to respond the way locals can?
So when I started getting texts and messages from friends on the other side saying, hey, no one is here. Do you know anyone you can call? Can you help us? And it started off with really being boots on the ground. Okay, let's get the jet skis. Let's get the boats. Let's call friends who fly commercial aircraft and see if we can charter a plane. We just took it upon ourselves like, okay, we could probably do a full day to hold our friends and family over before the, caravan arrives with everything. And it was just like day after day. Where are they? I haven't seen, one state, one county, one federal official at any one of the donation hubs where people are most suffering. People are sleeping in their cars. People are asking for specific items now.
Prominent journalists like Glenn Greenwald didn't hold back, calling out the apparent double standards in media coverage. His comparison of past leaders' scrutinies to Biden's current situation was telling. And in a rather embarrassing moment, Biden seemed to fumble even the island's name, leading to further questions about his engagement. Remember this moment?
The Army helicopters help fire suppression and efforts on the Big Island because there's still some burning on the Big Island, not the one where you see on television all the time.
To many, this entire episode isn't just about a delayed visit. It's a reflection of priorities, empathy, and the role of leadership in times of profound distress. Tonight's report paints a grim picture of leadership in times of crisis. Maui's tragedy isn't just about the devastating wildfires. It's a testament to the feelings of abandonment and disillusionment experienced by American citizens left wondering, aren't we important too? It's a reminder that in our nation's darkest hours, we need leaders who prioritize people over personal leisure. Leaders who are present, not just physically, but emotionally and responsively. While the media's role is to report unbiasedly, it's essential they hold all leaders, irrespective of party affiliations, to the same standards. Maui's outcry is an outcry for all of America, for accountability, empathy, and genuine leadership. As we reflect on these events, let us remember the importance of unity, resilience, and the never-ending pursuit of truth and justice in the face of adversity. With homeowners and potential buyers feeling the pinch, mortgage rates have hit an all-time high under the current administration. For a concise update on how this might impact you and the housing market, Angie has the latest news brief.
American dreams of homeownership hang in the balance as mortgage rates soar to a staggering 7.48%, a height unseen in over 20 years. The culprit? Rising inflation and the prolonged aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Current homeowners, once lured by rates as low as 3%, are now in golden handcuffs, trapped in their homes, fearing skyrocketing monthly payments. Meanwhile, potential buyers face a nearly $420 monthly hike from just last year for a standard $400,000 home. Desperate for relief, some turn to adjustable rate loans, but even these offer little solace. With the housing market teetering on crisis and the future uncertain, the American dream of owning a home may be slipping further out of reach. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. And that is all the news I have for tonight. Now back to Gary.
And now it's time for the comments section. We've seen a surge of emotion from you, our dedicated viewers, following Pastor Lee's recent appearance on N3 Primetime. It's clear the situation surrounding President Trump and America's chaplain has struck a chord. Patricia writes, prayers for President Trump and the chaplain. I stand with both of them. Nothing but a witch hunt. Patricia, your sentiment echoes that of millions of Americans who've grown tired of political theatrics. It seems every time someone tries to do good for our country, they're subjected to endless witch hunts. Toronto PC chimes in with, a Democrat TV advertisement could be considered a coercive activity? This is not about the court cases. It's to scare the living daylights out of potential Trump supporters. Well, Toronto, you've nailed it. Isn't it fascinating? While the left preaches tolerance, they seem intolerant of anyone who doesn't toe their line. Their tactics, intimidation, and fear. And Debbie writes, the girl doing the grand jury, getting the CNN saying how cool it would be to put under oath. This is heartbreaking. I am praying for all the Trump witch hunt victims. Debbie, your heart is with the silent majority who are watching these theatrics in disbelief. A legal proceeding should never be a spectacle for partisan gain. And Audrey seems frustrated as she asks, where the hell are the Republicans? Where the hell is the SCJ? They need to get a handle on this, and now. Audrey, I share your sentiment. The conservative voices seem eerily silent. One has to wonder, where's the unity in upholding justice and truth? Lastly, Joyce reminds us, President Trump and Reverend Lee, it's not surprising. It's the good guys versus the evil Democrats. Joyce, while we aim for unity, it's hard to ignore the blatant divide and the games being played. The good guys seem to always be on the defensive. Maybe it's time to rise. Thank you for your comments, America. This nation thrives on dialogue, and it's heartening to see so many engaged and passionate citizens. Remember, when the voice of the people becomes the voice of reason, change is imminent. And now, segueing to our next segment, Looking at You. Tonight, we shine a spotlight on someone who, in times of political chaos and divisive tactics, is doing remarkable work that deserves more attention. In our segment, Looking at You, we don't shy away from pointing out those moments politicians might wish we'd overlook. Tonight, our focus is on President Joe Biden. Now, as many of you remember, the Maui wildfires wreaked havoc, leading to over 100 fatalities and displacing countless others. In a situation demanding empathy, genuine concern, and leadership, How did President Joe Biden respond? Watch.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday, and lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat.
Yeah. First, Mr. Biden comparing a small house fire to the Maui wildfires is astonishing. Many lost everything and some tragically lost loved ones. To insinuate that a personal experience from 15 years ago involving a Corvette and a cat is anywhere near the same ballpark, let alone the same universe, as the devastation of Maui is tone deaf at best. Biden's feeble attempt to emphasize falls flat. It's as if he's reading from a playbook of political mishaps. How to alienate a grieving nation 101. This isn't about the bravery of firefighters. We respect and honor them immensely. This is about a leader making light of a national disaster by comparing it to a personal, minor inconvenience. It's like comparing a paper cut to an open-heart surgery. Leadership demands understanding, compassion, and a finger on the pulse of the nation's feelings. And clearly, this recent faux pas showcases that Biden might be missing more than just a beat. Remember, Mr. President, sometimes it's better to say nothing at all than to show just how out of touch you are. And that's our Looking at You segment tonight. Let's never forget the importance of holding our leaders accountable for their words, especially when they ring so hollow. As we close tonight, it's crucial to recognize that the stories we've covered, from sanctuary cities grappling with an influx of migrants to radical city agendas to the very principles of our republic challenged by allegations against a former president, are not isolated incidents. They form a mosaic of the American experience at this very moment. In New York, citizens are urging their leaders to prioritize safety. Across multiple cities, our personal freedoms, dietary choices, and even our ability to own homes are at stake. We've observed media biases, questions about leadership in crisis, and the potential erosion of the American dream. It's not about left or right or Democrat or Republican. It's about the very fabric of our republic. As these narratives unfold, remember, they are our stories. They shape our daily lives, influence our futures, and will define our legacy as a nation. It's our duty to engage, question, and make our voices heard. This isn't just news. This is the ongoing story of America. And that's a wrap for tonight's show. A big shout out to Angie for her compelling news briefs, providing us with insights into some of the most pressing issues. And to everyone who tuned in and actively participated in the live chat, your engagement is the heartbeat of our community. And a word from our trusted sponsor, and just as we've seen the U.S. dollar's fluctuation since its detachment from gold, and as we navigate the uncertainties in our topics today, gold remains a steadfast anchor. Noble Gold Investments offers you a solid opportunity to ensure your financial future remains secure. And don't miss out on their free quarter-ounce gold standard coin offer. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com or just give them a ring at 877-646-5347. And if you're not investing, I've said this before, just call them and say thanks for sponsoring the Next News Network. Because without them, you wouldn't have us. They are the gold company that I trust. So thank you for making N3 Primetime a part of your evening. You are the lifeblood of our movement, and your support is invaluable. And if you found value in our discussions, spread the word and share the link. This is Gary Franchi reminding you that I'm not just here to guide, but to inspire you to rise as leaders in our republic. Good night, and stay informed.